Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Amir Salam, and this particular video is going to be an introduction part to the C programming course which I'll be launching on my YouTube channel. Now, speaking about this particular course, well, you might have experienced this, right? You'll be having any programming language exam in your college. You might have not studied that particular language, or you might have a lot of doubts with it, and you'll always have this one friend will explain you the entire programming language and its concept within a couple of hours or minutes right before your exam, and you manage to pass that particular exam, right? So this particular course is going to act in the same manner. So I've designed this course in such a way that it will be a very short yet sweet introduction to C programming, where I'll be taking you from basic to advanced concept of C programming. So follow me through this entire journey so that you'll be getting a very good understanding of C programming, and you'll be able to write very good C programs at the very end of this course. So make sure you watch this video till the end, you follow the entire course, and you won't miss any of the programming course content. So as I said, this is going to be a short and sweet introduction to C programming. Now, what are the requirements of this particular course? The only requirements are a computer, laptop or a mobile phone, and a notebook. Now, why do you need a laptop or a mobile phone? Obviously, to watch this entire course and to compile your C code. If you don't have a laptop or a computer, no worries. I'll be providing links through which you can download mobile apps on which you can run C programs, right? So with that, the other requirement is obviously to have a notebook so that you'll note down all these C programming concepts. So make sure you watch all of my videos till the very end, and you won't miss any part of this entire video series. With that said, let's get started with the most beautiful computer programming language, that is C program. First, we'll be speaking about overview. Now, these are the points, right? The first is C is a general purpose language. It is fast and efficient. It is powerful, and it provides low-level access to the memory and hardware. C programs are also flexible. They have simple and very sweet syntax. Syntax is nothing but the flow of characters which you write in order to get a uniform code. The rules which you follow in order to write code is known as syntax. So that says that C has a very simple and sweet syntax. C is structured and modular programming language, and it is very easy to learn, understand, and write. C is very highly associated with the Unix operating system. Now, I'll be explaining all of these points in the further upcoming slides. The very first is general purpose programming language. Now, why is C called the general purpose programming language? Well, because C program is used to write from the most basic code to most advanced one. For example, C is used to write system software, application programs, right? Operating systems. It is also used to write code for robots, which do a very small task, to even writing code to computers which control airplanes, fighter jets, and even rockets and satellites. So that is how versatile C is. C is a very, very, very powerful language, and since it's used everywhere, from general purpose embedded system to operating system, hence it is known as a general purpose programming language. And you know what? A lot of languages such as Java, Python are related to C. You know how? Because the compilers and interpreters which run these languages such as Python and Java are written in C. The interpreter of Python is written in C. Compiler for Java initially was written in C. So you guys now have an idea of how important and how powerful C programming is. Now, C programming is fast, powerful, and efficient. C programming has a very efficient memory management technique, all thanks to a concept known as pointers. Now, I'll be teaching you guys what are pointers in the upcoming video, so don't worry. And with that, this language is compiled and is extensively optimized. Now, C program has got a lot of algorithms which optimize it in such a way that it is very efficient to compile and execute. And with that, it also provides low-level access to hardware, right? Now we'll be speaking about how C gets low level access to memory. So as I said, C gets low level access to memory all thanks to pointers. Pointers is nothing but a variable, a memory space which contains address of another memory space, right, as its value. So this might be confusing for you right now. Don't worry, we'll have a dedicated video for pointers where I'll be explaining you each and everything about pointers in a very sweet and short way, or else short and sweet way, right? With that, we also have bit manipulation in C. And the most interesting part about C language is that we can combine assembly level language in C code. That means we can write assembly language in C code. And in my engineering subjects, we had a subject known as microprocessors embedded systems. In that, we used to write C program as well as assembly level programs all in one single program. Now let us come to the simple and sweet syntax. Now this is my favorite part, C programming syntax. C program has one of the most beautiful, most elegant syntax. It has minimal keywords. There are only 32 keywords in C. So you only have to remember 32 keywords. That's all. It's that easy. You remember 32 keywords and you know how to code with just very basic knowledge of C program. Then it has concept of semicolons and braces. Well, semicolons are used to indicate end of a line in C program, and curly braces are used to depict start of a function and end of a function. Now you guys might be wondering what are end of a line, then what are functions. Don't worry, this is an introduction part, so you'll be shown what C programming is from the surface, and with each video we'll try to dive as deep as possible, and we'll try to explore newer concept in C. With that, C is a strong typing language, or else a strong typed language. Now what does a strong typed mean? Strong typed means whatever variables or data types we'll be using in C must be declared at the very start of the program, so that C will dedicate some memory from your computer system to that particular variables and data types. So that is known as strong typed language. With that, we have beautiful control flow statements in C. That is structured control flow. What a control flow? The name itself suggests they control the flow of C program, right? They control the flow of execution. These statements are if statement, else, for loop, while loop, do while loop, switch statement. These are very interesting concepts which we'll be learning in C program, and they control the sequence or the flow of C program. Now we also have comments in C. There are two types of comments basically, a single line comment and a multi-line comment. As the name itself suggests, single line is just one line comment, and multi-line comments when you've got to describe something in detail, then we use multi-line comments. Single line comments have got 2 backslashes. Multi-line comment has got 1 backslash and an asterisk. They are depicting start of comment, and the end of comment is depicted by 1 asterisk and then a backslash. Now we know what are comments, structured control flow, what is strong typing language, semicolons and braces, and keywords, right? Now this is an example code how C is written. As you can see, it's just about like 6 lines of code, which are 2 lines are just curly braces. So technically it's just 4-line code. In the first line, we are including libraries, then start of main function. We are printing hello guys on the output screen, and we're returning a value. So this is how easy, this is how simple and sweet C programming is. And C programming is one of my favorite language. And this is the very first language I've learned in my life. Now let us come to structured and modular programming design. What is structured and modular programming? As the name itself suggests, structured. C programs can be structured in order to perform their own specific task. For example, let me take an example of designing a calculator application. For calculation, let us structure our C programming in such a way that in first part it will be taking input of the values, right? In second part, it will be taking the input of the operation to be performed. For example, addition, subtraction, multiplication, whatever it is. And in the third part, it will be processing that particular, data. It will be doing all the operation. And in the fourth part, we'll be getting the output. So we have structured our programming language, right? We've structured the entire program. Input, get the operation, perform the operation, give the output. So this is structured programming language. Now with that, C is also a modular programming language. Now what is a modular programming language? C programs can be divided into smaller, simpler blocks of program known as modules. And we can, connect these modules together to build our final program. Now how is C and Unix related? How are C and Unix related? Well, C was developed in order to write the Unix operating system by Dennis Ritchie. That's the reason C is very much associated and related to Unix operating system. And you guys, for those of you who are using Linux and Unix operating system, you guys don't have to install a separate compiler in order to compile and execute C programs, because Unix operating system already has an inbuilt C compiler. So that was how C and Unix are related. Now we have standardization. Whatever engineering concept, whatever engineering values we have, they must be standardized. Same applies to the C programming language. It has to be standardized. Now a committee of ANSI was set up in the year 1983 to standardize C. Now what is ANSI? ANSI stands for American National Standard Institute, and they standardized C in the year 1989. By standardizing C, they gave us, a syntax or rules which have got to follow in order to write C programs which can be, compiled and executed on all other systems, right? So they've defined rules which have got to follow in order to write a very common C language. Now let us get into the history part of C. As I said, C was developed by Dennis Ritchie back in 1970s. So C is a very old yet very strong language. It was developed at Bell Laboratories, and as I said, it was developed in order to write the Unix operating system. And the most interesting part is C is evolved from a language known as B. So what comes after B? It's C. Now, speaking of the features of C language, there are multiple features of C language. I've listed down a very few important features which we'll be discussing in this particular video. The first is imperative language. Now, what stands for imperative language? Well, in imperative programming approach, we describe the sequence of program in which we'll be describing what function a particular program part will be doing, and what they'll be providing us with the output. So this is known as imperative language. We have separate the code in particular manner, and they have their very own function, and they have to perform that function and give us our desired output. As I said, C is a structured and modular programming language. It follows top-down approach. Now in top-down approach, we define the more complex and larger tasks at the top of the program, and we keep on dividing them into smaller and simpler tasks as we go to the bottom of the code. And the most interesting, there are a lot of interesting things about C. And yet another interesting part of C is C program is nothing but collections of functions and functions and functions and functions. So C is nothing but functions with another function and another function and another function. So you'll be confused like what are functions and how is C a collection of functions? Don't worry, I'll be explaining that in the upcoming video lectures. And as I said, C has got a very unique concept, that is concept of pointers, which play a very important and crucial role, and they provide low level access to the memory. And with pointers, we can manage memory of a computer system. And as I said, C has only 32 keywords. Hence, you can memorize these keywords. You can be very much familiar with C. And memorizing 32 keywords isn't, a big headache, right? And C offers variety of data types and functions. Yes, C offers a lot of inbuilt data types and functions. And with that, it also provides a platform for user in order to design his very own functions, that is user defined functions and user defined data types. Now let us get into the fundamentals of computers and programming. Computers are fast yet dumb machines. That means they don't know what to do. They won't perform any task until and unless you tell them what to do and how to do it, right? So in order to tell a computer what task to perform and what output to obtain, you have to explain computer, right? And this explanation is nothing but the instructions you pass to the computer as input. This set of instruction statements is known as program. So program is nothing but statements or instructions which you give to the computer, telling computer what to do, what to perform, and what to give back. So in simple words, program is nothing but a written document which explains computer what to do. Now, program is a step-by-step instruction which guide computers to solve the given problem. The approach which we take in order to solve a given problem is known as algorithm. Now, what is algorithm? Algorithm is nothing but a sequence of approaches we take, right, in order to solve a problem. For example, if you've got to, fetch water from a filter in your home, the certain sequence of instructions you do, right, perform, right? Get up from your chair, get out of your room, go back to the kitchen, get a bottle, fill up the bottle, drink your water bottle, get back to your workplace. So these are sequence of instructions, right, which you're doing, and the way you design this instruction and sequence them is known as algorithm. So in simple words, algorithm is nothing but the way you design your program. Now once we have developed the algorithm, we have to write this algorithm in a language which computer can understand. Hence computer language come into play here. We can write this algorithm and plot this algorithm in any of the languages such as C, C++ or Java. Now this is a pictorial representation of the steps we take in order to write a program and execute it. The first is problem definition. We try to understand what the problem is and how we can design a solution for it. What are the desired outputs and how can the program be developed. Then we design the program. That means we design the algorithm. Then we start to code that particular algorithm with any of these computer languages like C, C++ or whatever it is. Then we look up for errors in our particular code. If there are any errors, we try to debug them and make sure that our program is error free. Then we start to test our program with multiple input values, that is multiple test cases, in order to make sure that our program will generate exact or desired output for whatever test cases or whatever input we provide. Then once we are done with this process, we have to document that code. What is documentation? Documentation is nothing but a process of defining each and every step the program is performing, right? So that in upcoming future, if there is someone who has to go through that code and understand it, he'll just go through the documentation section and he'll be able to grasp an idea of what that particular program is and how it is performing its operation. Then we have to maintain the code. Maintenance is the most important part after developing a C program. We have to keep on maintaining it so that we'll try to eliminate errors and glitches. Now we'll get to the basic terminologies of C programming and computers in general. The very first terminologies is CPU. Now CPU is regarded as central processing unit. It is also known as the brain of the computer system. Why is it referred to as the brain of the computer system? Well, because it performs all the important tasks and instructions, and it provides the output. So all this important work is done in this particular tiny little chip that is known as microprocessor, and hence it is known as the brain of the computer system. Most of the execution is done here, as I've said before. All the execution part is handled by the processor. Then it is responsible to control and coordinate all the other tasks in the program, and also it has to control and coordinate all the other computer hardware such as hard drive disk, peripherals such as your mouse, keyboard, and other things. Then we have the memory system. In memory, we have two types of memory. One is the primary memory and secondary memory. With primary memory, we have RAM, that is random access memory. Random access memory stores instructions for execution. That means it fetches these instructions from hard drive disk or your secondary memory, and it places it in RAM so that it is very easily accessible to the computer processor at a very short period of time. They're volatile memory. Volatile in the sense it is a temporary memory, and once you shut down your computer system or once RAM is out of power supply, the entire data which is stored in RAM is erased. So it is not a permanent solution to store memory data or data on RAM. Then it is very fast, but it comes in a smaller size and is comparatively expensive compared to secondary memory. Then we have ROM. ROM refers to read-only memory. It stores very important information like instruction set required for booting a process. Booting a process is nothing but when you turn on your computer system, the instructions it has to follow. Check the peripherals, load the memory from secondary memory to primary memory. Well, these instructions are known as booting up instructions, and these instructions are stored in read-only memory. It holds very important data and which is necessary for basic operations. Now let us come to the secondary memory. Now secondary memory is hard drive disk or else HDD. This is a permanent memory. So whatever data you store in hard drive is permanently available until and unless you don't damage it physically. Then it holds all the information and data. For example, your operating system, your files, your photos, videos, games, everything is stored in hard drive disk or secondary memory storage. Then it houses the operating system and is slow compared to primary memory, but it comes at a very larger capacity at a comparatively cheaper price as compared to RAM and ROM. Then we have other storage mediums such as CD drive, that is compact disc, pen drives, which are again a permanent memory but a portable storage medium used for sharing information. Then we have computer hardware. Computer hardware is generally something which you can see in a computer system or physically touch that, right? It can be anything like motherboard. Motherboard is nothing but a platform which connects computers, CPU, RAM, ROM, all the hard drives and stuff. Then motherboard provides a pathway for data communication between multiple devices and hardware systems. Then it also hardware also contains components like power supply unit, video card, audio card, etc. Then we have operating system. Now imagine this, your computer thing which you can touch is body, right? Body of something, right? Now you have to feed in the soul in order to make it alive. Now if hardware is body, physical body, then software or the operating system is the soul which you put into that particular system. So operating system, as you can refer it to as a soul of a computer system. So it acts as a layer between a user and the computer system, and it plays a very important role, such as managing the memory of the computer system, managing the hardware of computer system, and also it controls and coordinates the flow of instructions, and also manages the computer resources. It takes care of very very critical and important tasks such as memory allocation, CPU utilization, user interface, and more. Now what are the examples of operating system? Very a general example, Windows operating system, you have Mac operating system, Android, iOS, then Linux, and there are multiple operating systems available in the market. And now when it comes to programming languages, we again have basically two different type of programming languages. One is a high level programming language and the other is a low level programming language. High level programming languages are generally easy to read, write and understand. They're usually written in English language, right? So that we can understand them very easily, such as C, C++, Java, and they must be converted from high level language to low level language. Now why is this conversion process important? High level languages are easy to understand for humans, but computers only understand the language of zeros and ones, that is binary. So they must be converted from high level language, which is human understandable, to computer understandable language, that is zeros and ones, that is low level language. Hence, the layer which converts the high level language into low level language is known as compiler. Hence, we need a compiler to perform this job. When it comes to low level language, it is very hard to read and write, and to understand it on screen, it's way too hard to read a low level language since it's just a combination of zeros and ones. Now, once you write low level language, it is directly compiled or directly executed by the CPU. So no need of compilation and conversion from high level to low level, since it's already available in low language. CPU will directly fetch that and understand it completely. Now here it comes, the most interesting part of this particular video, steps of writing a program. Now the very first step is define the program objective. Understand the requirements of the program, what your program will be doing, how will be taking, will be taking inputs, how you will be processing the input, and the way you'll be giving out the output. Get a clear idea of what you want to accomplish with your code. For example, if you're building a calculator, you must know what inputs you must give, what operations you have to perform, and what output you should be getting out of that particular code. Then we have the design part. Declare how program will meet the requirements, and here how the program must be organized, how the program must be designed. That particular aspects are dealt in this particular section. And in the design part, we also design our algorithm. Then we start to write our code. We choose any of the programming language available. Then we write the code with any text editor or IDE, integrated development environment. Now I'll paste links to particular compilers and IDEs down in the description box. So for example, if you're using Windows operating system or Linux or whatever it is, I'll be sharing link to each operating system, so you can choose your operating system type and refer to that particular video and install an online IDE or offline IDE and compiler accordingly. Then we have to compile the code. We have to look for errors so that our code is error free and it runs buttery smooth. Then once compiler checks for errors and it confirms that okay, there are no more errors in your program, then it converts your high level language into machine level language or low level language, which is easily understandable by the computer processor. And this low level language is also termed as machine level language. Then we have to run the program. The executable file is directly picked by the CPU processor. It is executed and we perform all the operations over there. We have to keep on testing and debugging a program. We have to look for multiple runtime errors. We have to look for multiple test cases. We have to keep on giving different inputs in order to gauge our output. So this is known as test cases. Once we develop C program, it's running fine, we have to keep on maintaining it and modify the program with the time. With the time, your program degrades, right? The technology upgrades, your program degrades. So you have to keep on adding new features and make sure your program is running buttery smooth as it used to do, or way better than what it used to do in the very initial stages. So we have to keep on maintaining and updating our C program. Now setting up the coding environment. As I said, there are primarily two type of coding environments. One is the online coding environment and offline coding environment. In online, we have got multiple website like Programmers Online Compiler, Online GDB Compiler. So I'll be using online compilers for this particular course, but you can also install IDEs such as VS Code or CodeBlocks. Now I won't be going in depth on how to install this particular applications for your particular OS. I'll be giving those links to down in the description box. You can refer to that links and download and install whatever IDE you're comfortable with. So we won't be wasting any of our time in this particular field. So let's jump right into the part where we'll be looking at the steps which we'll be taking in order to write our very first C program. First step is editing. Writing the C program, and this particular code is known as the source code. The code which I have written is regarded as the source code. Then we have to compile it, converting high level language into machine level language. Now in compilation, there are two main stages. In first stage, we call the pre-processing stage. Why is it called the pre-processing stage? Because in this stage our code is mainly added or modified. Now how is it added or modified? Well, you might have this question, right? Well, operations which are performed here to modify your code are linking of library files. As I said, C program is nothing but a combination of functions, and predefined functions are available in library files. So we'll be linking the library files which we have used in a program. Then we'll be expanding the macros which we have used. Macros are nothing but hashtag define. I'll be teaching you all these functions in the upcoming videos. Then the compiler will remove the comments. As I said, compiler will ignore the comments, but in the first stage it will remove the comments, and then it will reduce the size of the program. How? It will remove the white spaces in between the program, so that it will make it as minimal as possible when it comes to size. Now in the second stage of compilation, actual compilation process of our source code begins. This generates an object code, and the operations performed in second stage compilation are syntax analysis. The compiler looks for any syntax error which is caused by while writing the program, and it also looks for semantic analysis, checks for type mismatching. Optimization happens here. The code is optimized in order to run very fast and efficiently. There are multiple various optimization techniques available with the C compiler. And once the program is compiled, it is converted to low-level language or object file which has an extension of .obj or just .o. Now, linking. With linking, the library files which you've used in your C program are linked to the your actual C program. With this, your C program will be expanded and made more flexible. Then the execution part, as I said, in execution part we'll be running the executable file, and once the file runs, then good, or else we'll be rewriting the code, we'll debug it, we'll check for errors, we'll compile it again, and then execute and run the program. So we'll be repeating this whole process from the very beginning again. Now here we are to the very exciting process of writing a very first C program. As you can see, this is the program which we'll be writing in this particular video. So let's get started. So this is the online compiler which I'll be using to write my C programs, and the link to this particular online compiler will be provided down in the description box. You can go visit this particular website and start coding. So let us get started and let us write a very first C program. Now to write this C program, first we have to include a library function known as standard input output. So what we'll do is hashtag include stdio.h. All library functions of C have an extension .h. So we'll be including standard io.h. Then we'll be starting our main function. Now our main function is of type int. Main. Then we have, since we have included the library function stdio.h, and it has a function known as printf. Now what printf function does is, it takes whatever the character string which we've given in this particular double quotes and prints that on the computer screen. For example, hello guys, welcome to my channel. So this is what we've got to print on the screen. And now, once the C program, this particular program has been compiled successfully, it has to return a value 0. If there are any errors, it has to return a non-zero value. So what we'll be doing? Return 0. Now I'll explain this code in a very simple manner. In the very first line, we're including a library function stdio.h, which contains all very basic functions like input, output. Now what is input? Scanf function. For output, we'll be using printf function. Int main. Main is, as the name itself suggests, it's a very main, it's a most important function of your entire C program. And each C program must contain one main function. No, not more than one function, main function. It can contain multiple user-defined functions, but it has to contain one main function, and the type of function which are using is integer. So you'll be knowing more about this data types in the upcoming videos. And here we have used printf function, and the string which we have given in this double quotes will be printed on the screen. And here it is, we have used semicolon in order to depict end of line of this particular line. Then we have return 0. If this code compiles without any particular errors, we'll be getting the int main will be receiving 0 value, that depicts successful compilation of the program, or else that will, if it's a non-zero value, that depicts that we have encountered any error. Now let us run this code. As you can see, we've got this output. Hello guys, welcome to my channel. So this is how easy C is. This is how exciting it is to learn C. I hope you guys love this particular video. Now we'll also write another a very basic C program in which we'll be taking a number as an input and we'll be giving that same number as an output. We'll write the code from the beginning. We'll include a standard input output library, int main, start of main function, and now we have to declare a variable. Now what is a variable? Variable is nothing but a space on your memory, right? Let us assume variable as a container. We'll be taking a container and we'll be placing it, stating that okay, this particular container is to store value for my program. So we'll create a container, integer number. So we have created a container, right, which will be storing our value. Now we have to get the input value which has to be stored in this container. What we'll do is we'll ask the user to enter the value. Enter the value. What we'll be using here is we'll be using a function known as scanf. This particular function will copy whatever you enter and place that in whichever will you need. So we'll be doing is %d, comma, and %number. Whatever you enter on this screen will be copied to the address of number. So this might seem a little complicated for you guys. No worries. Now what we'll do is we'll print back the same number. Entered number is %d, and we'll be giving the number variable which it has got to print. Hoping my code has no errors. Let us compile this code. 0 errors. Enter the value. Let me give an example of 5. So we have got the output. So the computer has taken the input 5 and it has again processed the output. The entire number is 5. So as you guys can see, this is how easy it is to program in C. I hope you guys liked this video. If so, then hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and make sure even they learn C programming. C programming language is very powerful. It has got a lot of real world application, from very basic writing very basic codes to competitive coding, writing embedded system softwares. There's a lot of things to explore with C programming language. And with this, I'll be providing links to all the resources which I've used in this particular video down in the description box, and I'll also provide link to this notebook and PPT of this particular class again in the description box. And I'll also include a Trello page where I'll be constantly updating it with whatever videos I'll be coming up with, so you can look back to that particular Trello page board in order to refer the C content and learn C much more efficiently. So that's all for this video, guys. I hope you liked it. If so, then consider subscribing to my channel, like this video, and share this with your friends, guys, who want to learn C or who are facing it hard to learn C. Remember, take this video as take me as your friend who's trying to teach you C in a much simpler way. With that said, I hope have teased C in a simple and sweet way. Meet you in another lecture. Till then, bye bye.